I'm Nikki from Creative Stamping, and in issue 61 we've got an extra gift for you. If you've got a couple of minutes to spare, I'm going to show you how to use this flower shaping tool. I've created all of these cards for the magazine using this flower shaping tool, which will come in every bag with every copy that we sell. This flower shaping tool is made of durable plastic and it's fantastic for shaping every single element that you can possibly try to shape. And all of these cards have got shaped elements on them, using the stamps in the magazine of course. So let's have a look and see what you can do with the flower shaping tool. On this card, I've not only shaped the flowers, but I've also shaped the robin too. So I've got my original robin that would make the centerpiece of my card, and I also stamped another one and chopped his legs off. But we're going to use the same principle and we're going to curve the card just by breaking the fibres down, going round and round and round. If you haven't got one of these foam mats, just see what you can improvise with. It just needs to be a squishy surface to allow the fibres to move. So you've got a nice curved robin there who sits nice and proud, just like that. Now I would like to add some definition to this, but if you turn it over you can't see what you're doing. So what you can do is you can do it in reverse to start with, and I'm going to try and shape the branch that he's on, because on this card you can actually feel that the branch is raised as well as the robin. So here's a tip: work backwards, like you're almost rubbing over the area and you're debossing it. But when you turn over, can you see you've actually got a mark to show you where to go the other way? So because you've broken your fibres down, just go back over yourself and you will feel that you've got a 3D robin. If you put him onto 3D foam pads and stick him back over there, you've got a real textured embellishment. You'll see also that there are flowers on here, and there's lots of things, seeing as it's called a flower shaping tool, that you can actually do with the flowers. So if you take the thinner end, you can actually start to curve the petals of the flowers over the shaping tool to give some dimension in this way too. If you've curved all your petals, you can then press down in the middle to give it even more dimension and shape. Then you use the narrow end and you can also fold the middles of your petals in, so your flowers can end up looking really quite different to how they started out. And you just put the flower shaping tool in the middle on its side and just pinch the sides of the petal together. And that is how I got those flowers. On this card, I used exactly the same idea of folding the flowers, but I shaped the petals differently and I shaped them all backwards. I will say that I coloured these flowers with Distress Oxide ink, and I literally just got some on my blending brush, popped it in the middle and changed the white to a really soft pink. I have also again snipped down towards the centre of each one because it gives you more opportunity to shape the flowers. So on this one, we're curling the flower petals backwards. So you take your half end of the folder and you are curving over the top of the folder like that. And you work your way around, bending the fibres, moulding the cardstock till you have a new shaped flower. Once again, press down into the middle, either with that end or the other end, it doesn't matter, but you are building a new shape of flower. And as you can see, these have got a little fold across them, so turn it upside down and fold back on itself. If you repeat this with the small flower and lay one small flower over one large flower, you end up with a design that looks like this. I think this one is my favourite one to make because I have to say I do love a poinsettia. This one has got several layers in it and each layer is folded to make it feel very realistic, and I have got pine cones involved as well. This is what the poinsettia looks like stamped onto white cardstock, and there's nothing against stamping it on white cardstock, colouring it in, cutting it out and using it on your cards. But what I thought I would do is I stamped it once on green and 4 times on red, and I've decoupaged it down to make different layers. Now you don't have to follow any rules. As you can see with this green one, I've just picked out where the leaves are, and then I've cut across the other areas because obviously you don't want the back panel to be all green. With this one, I've cut the whole thing out so you can see that sits across the green really nicely. This is really simple. You find the next layer and you just take some elements and you've got your layers like this, and it starts to fill up. A small one will fit there. And don't forget, if you're only cutting out a really tiny area, just stamp on a tiny piece of cardstock. You don't need to stamp 4 whole poinsettias, just stamp the middle bit onto a small piece of cardstock and cut it out. So you've got your 4 layers to make your poinsettia. What you then do is you use your flower shaping tool, and again we're going to use the straight edge of it, and we're going to very simply lay it along the vein of each leaf and fold. Lay and fold. And obviously you're folding into something behind, but when you're only going to see the leaves, it really doesn't matter. So we've already got a dimensional layer for the leaves. For the flower, along the vein and pinch. Along the vein and pinch. So we only need to do the largest of the petals for the flower here. So there we've got. You can always come back to it, you can always snip into it to get a better definition. Whoops. So we work like that. One more to do here. So we're folding our detail in, like that. There's not really much to do on these tiny ones, but whatever you can do to give a little bit of dimension really works with the finished effect of the flower being really layered up and very pretty. And of course, don't forget at the end to add a little bit of glitter and sparkle into the middle to make them truly festive. I think with this tiny one, there's nothing really to fold. It's all getting to poke. Poke this one, and then if you're building your flower back up, you just put all of the layers back together again. If you use a 3D foam pad in between them, it makes them look really deep and luxurious. And therefore, when you build it all back together, you've got a really well-defined poinsettia. This is one of my favourite techniques to do, and that's to build up flowers with depth, giving layer on layer of slightly smaller flowers. And as you can see on this card, inside the box frame, you can see that we really have got some extra dimension, which is why I made the box frame card to protect it. You'll find all the instructions for the box frame card and a step-by-step for making these flowers in this month's magazine. But what I'll do really quickly is just show you how I managed to make one big flower out of 3 small ones. And I'm just going to do something a bit mean. I'm just going to take a petal off. Okay. Let's have a look. We've got our base one, and we are going to curve as normal. Curve the petals round. Okay, like this, so that you've got a nice shaped flower. With this one, we're going to do the same. Curve the petals round, so that your flower has some shape. Please take much more time than me. I'm just demonstrating really quickly just to show you. And if you have some white wet glue, you can use a hot glue gun, but obviously watch out for your fingers. But something that's going to quickly adhere one petal to another. If you bring the petals together and adhere them like that, you now have a 4-petaled flower. If you do the same with this one, and you curve your petals backwards, round the tool, you've started with 4 petals. If you do the curve, you're going to end up with 3 petals. Now you're working with a very narrow middle, and if they come apart, don't worry, you can still stick them together, because what you're going to do is you're going to put your 4 on your 5 and the 3 on the 4, and that's how you get your dimensional flower. So Creative Stamping 61 is packed with inspiration and extra gifts too, so I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you go off and use your flower shaping tool. Look out for our extra videos giving you a sneak peek of what's in the magazine with what our designers have created for you, and lots of inspiration and hints and tips too.